5:01 a.m. and I'm about to hopefully embark on a trip to go to Cambodia today by transit from Bangkok. I am in the lobby of my hotel. I'm grabbing a Grab because it was going to take an hour on public transit, and we're going to go to the station and buy a ticket. Hopefully I make it. I'm extremely bad at editing videos in a fast way, and because of that, this video is actually from before the border tensions flared mid-2025 between Thailand and Cambodia. Currently, you cannot do this trip because the Cambodian border is closed. Klong Luk border station? Sorry, Ka. First thing to know, you can only buy tickets day of. I confirmed this with the station master. The ticket costs just 49 baht, which is about $1.50 USD, which is kind of notable for how far you're going. There's surprisingly not a ton of clear trip reports online from Bangkok to Siem Reap, and the ones that I did find, I found very helpful, so I thought I would finally edit this and post this. I hung out in the main area thinking that people weren't getting on board the train yet, but the train was in the station and a lot of people got on around 5:30 a.m., so I wouldn't wait for an announcement. There are shops in the train station, and if you take the later in the day train, you should have no problem getting some food in there. There's also a pay toilet. It was well stocked, relatively clean by, Thai train station standards. So if you do need to use a kind of cleaner restroom than you're going to find on the train, I would recommend doing that in the station before you leave. People on board the train will get on as early as possible to try to stake out nap spots. Took me a while to kind of find a good spot to sit, especially being solo. You'll see a lot of people put their feet up on the seats to try to get as much space as possible. Nothing in the station is open this early, but don't worry. I ate food before I came, but there will be vendors on board the train selling breakfast, water, Thai iced tea. They were all reasonably affordable, looked quite good. I'm vegetarian, and there was quite a few options available for me, especially if you can exchange a little Thai, because most of the vendors will not speak English or will speak very little English. We departed right on time at 5:55 a.m. The ride itself was honestly beautiful. There was flat countryside, wide open views, and we ran almost entirely on time. Each car has 2 toilets, 1 squat, and 1 Western style. They technically work, but they're not very clean. There's no toilet paper, and the faucets and bidets don't work, so I would plan accordingly. Either bring some toilet tissue or, kind of use your water bottle, plan ahead for a bidet. They're fine. They're serviceable. I've seen worse on many trains. After Nong Saeng, it got very crowded, so personal space became very theoretical. It also got pretty noisy. There was a kid next to me playing games kind of the entire time with full blast volume on her phone. I was there during smoke season, so almost everybody was covering their face with masks, scarves, shirts. I would really recommend, if you have an N95 or something else, to cover your face if you are there during smoke season. The windows were open. There's no way to close them. We are moving at 55 miles per hour. The smoke particles were flying in. There was actual particles flying into the train. The air quality was quite bad, so I would plan ahead for that. We arrived at Klong Luk border station just 3 minutes late. It was kind of notable. It was a little chaotic at the border, but it was relatively easy to figure out where we were going to go. As someone who is under 5 feet tall and was solo, I did kind of have to just follow the crowd. I had been warned about a lot of people trying to scam and take you places and tell you that you should come with them to apply for a visa. I actually didn't have any issues with that. There was only 1 or 2 other foreigners that I saw at all. There were no foreigners in the car that I was in the entire journey. Hello there. Okay, so I made it through immigration and now I'm on the Friendship Bridge. I cleared the Thai exit with a stamp and also got through the Cambodian immigration total in about 30 minutes. It was relatively easy to follow. A note, they are quite strict about not using your phone when you're waiting in line at Cambodian immigration. Even if you already have your e-visa, you're going to have to wait through the line, get them to sort it out. And I pulled out my phone over on the side because I needed to write down the address of where I was staying on my entry forms, as is fairly typical, and they did not like that. So I would try to have it on a piece of paper or have it memorized. I was very nervous about negotiating a taxi, especially as a solo female. Originally, a lot of people will kind of negotiate a taxi all the way. For me, I spent a while trying to find something I could book ahead of time. I looked on One2Go, which is what a ton of people use here, but I did not find anything useful for this route. Most of the routes started in Bangkok and went all the way to Siem Reap, and I wanted to take the train as far as I could. CamboTicket.com had pre-bookable tickets, and they had a timing for a 1:05 departure 12-passenger minivan. It lined up fairly perfectly with the train. Now I have to try to find my bus. It's very chaotic. I see an awful lot of buses, like a ton of buses. I think some are tour buses. I got hassled, but only a little bit. Here's all the buses. I don't think any of these are mine. So now I have to figure out how to actually get to the bus stop. I have an hour before the minivan that I'm taking leaves, so we'll figure it out, hopefully. But this is Poi Pet, right at the Thai border. There was about a mile walk from the immigration to the bus stop, so about 20 minutes. With my somewhat heavy bag, the heat, and the absolutely bananas Cambodian traffic, I did pay for a tuk-tuk.
Siem Reap.
The driver said that he would take some Thai baht, and I wasn't going to use it after this, so I just gave 100 baht for a tuk-tuk. The Cambodian tuk-tuks are like nothing you've ever seen before. They're all kind of like hitched together. The seat that I was sitting in was like a gaming chair that had been kind of attached to this motorbike.
Since I saved so much time by... That was a mosquito. Since I saved so much time by taking a tuk-tuk, which just used up baht that I needed to get rid of anyway, I went and got myself a coffee. So I'm making up for the lack of coffee I had this morning with a giant coffee, but that was from like a cafe inside of a coffee roaster. It's around the corner from where I'm picking up my bus. I just need to try to find water. I need to buy a water bottle before I get on the bus for 2 hours. And I think, my snacks are fine. Anyway, it's very chaotic here, but the architecture is very interesting. I have been asked if I want a tuk-tuk about every 20 feet, I would say, but they aren't aggressive. As soon as I say no, they're like fine. So I don't know, could be worse.
I was able to wait at the CamboLink21 stop. It was open air, but it had some shade, and they had a very clean bathroom that I was able to use. The minivan was clean, air-conditioned, and comfortable.
Of legroom for me, a Cambodian/Thai sized person, would probably be a bit tight, but there's kind of like, there's solo seats over there that you could do if you were a bigger person. And yeah, I don't know, really nice. I'm the only one in here thus far, so we'll find out if we pick up other passengers on the way, or if it actually leaves, because they put me in the van. But there was no words exchanged. So we'll find out how this goes.
Total, we made 5 intermediate stops at CamboLink facilities. Because I was the only foreigner, I didn't really talk with anyone. My driver didn't really speak very much English.
They offered me some of that fruit, but I don't know what it is. I did switch cars, and and I think they went and found someone who had like a little bit of English, because he said, you go to Siem Reap, switch cars. But very simple. I just went to the one in front of it. So we'll find out if any other passengers get on.
One downside was that CamboLink's Siem Reap stop is about 10 minutes outside of Old Town, which is the area that most tourists are going to be staying in. I ended up paying $1 USD for a tuk-tuk to my hotel from CamboLink, and they blasted reggae the entire way. Really, there's nothing like a Cambodian tuk-tuk. That brings the grand total cost for my trip from Bangkok to Siem Reap to about $14 US and 11 hours of travel. If the border reopens again, this is a nice way to make the trip to Angkor Wat overland, get to ride the Thai rails, and see some areas you might miss on a plane. And even if it might be a little slower, it's still faster than my video editing.